Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about something that quietly but powerfully holds many people back. Not the competition, not lack of talent, not even bad luck. The biggest obstacle standing between most people and their goals is themselves. Many of us assume that external factors like lack of resources, competition, or difficult circumstances are the reasons we're not where we want to be. But if we look closely and honestly, the truth is more personal. Time and again, the most consistent and powerful barrier to our success isn't someone else, it's us. It's the way we sabotage ourselves, often without realizing it. Self-sabotage comes in many forms. Sometimes it shows up as procrastination. We delay taking action even when we know exactly what needs to be done. Other times it's in the form of negative self-talk. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, not ready, not smart enough, or not worthy of success. These thoughts don't come from facts. They come from fear, and that fear disguises itself as logic, convincing us that playing small is the safe, sensible choice. We create elaborate excuses, not because we're lazy or incapable, but because deep down, we're scared of failing or even of succeeding and what that might demand from us. So we protect ourselves by staying in familiar patterns. We avoid the risk of growth in exchange for the illusion of safety. The worst part, this self-sabotage becomes habitual. We repeat it until it becomes our default response to opportunity. We don't ask for the raise, we don't submit the application, we don't speak up in the meeting, not because we can't, but because we've convinced ourselves it's not worth trying. In doing so, we stay stuck, not because the world told us no, but because we told ourselves not yet. Success often requires less raw talent than we think and more self-awareness. The moment we recognize how we're standing in our own way is the moment we begin to regain control. It's not about blaming ourselves, it's about taking responsibility. When you realize that your mindset, habits, and internal dialogue are shaping your external results, you gain the power to change them. Self-sabotage doesn't mean you're broken or doomed. It means you're human, but it also means you have the choice to stop, to recognize the pattern, interrupt it, and choose differently, because no external obstacle will ever be as powerful as the internal ones we keep feeding. One of the most subtle ways we get in our own way is by overthinking. We replay ideas in our heads endlessly, analyzing every detail, imagining every worst-case scenario, and waiting for the elusive perfect plan to appear. But in doing so, we fall into a dangerous trap. Inaction disguised as preparation. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're being responsible, cautious, or strategic. But most of the time, it's just fear dressed up as logic. We think we're solving problems, but what we're really doing is avoiding decisions. The more we think, the less we do, and while action builds clarity, overthinking clouds it. Fear is the fuel that drives overthinking. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. These fears don't always shout, they whisper. They whisper things like, what if this isn't the right time? Or maybe I need to learn more first. They whisper excuses that feel safe and rational, but in truth, they chain us to where we are. Then there's perfectionism, the polished cousin of fear. We tell ourselves that we're holding back because we want to get it right. We claim we're waiting until things are ready or until we've figured everything out. But perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target. There will never be a moment when every variable is certain, every step is planned, and every risk is eliminated. Waiting for perfection only ensures that you stay still. Perfectionism isn't about doing your best. It's about avoiding discomfort. It's about shielding yourself from criticism, disappointment, or vulnerability. But the cost of that protection is steep. Lost opportunities, stunted growth, and regret. The truth is, overthinking, fear, and perfectionism are not standards of excellence. They are forms of self-limitation. They don't prevent failure, they prevent trying. They don't guarantee success, they guarantee delay. Real progress comes not from having every answer, but from having the courage to take the first step, imperfectly, vulnerably, and sometimes blindly. Action is messy, growth is uncomfortable, but movement, even flawed movement, will always teach you more than endless rumination ever will. The next time you catch yourself stuck in analysis, drowning in doubt, or waiting until everything is just right, pause and ask yourself, am I thinking this through or talking myself out of it? That single moment of awareness might be all it takes to shift from paralysis to progress. One of the most common myths that keeps people stuck is the belief that they have to feel completely ready before they start, ready to speak up, ready to pursue their dream, ready to take that risk. We treat readiness as a destination, as if someday we'll wake up full of confidence, free of fear, armed with a flawless plan, and that will be the green light we've been waiting for. But here's the truth, readiness is not a feeling, it's a choice. If you wait until you feel 100% ready, you'll wait forever. The people you admire, the ones out there making moves, starting businesses, changing careers, sharing their ideas, they didn't wait until they were ready. They acted before they felt qualified. They acted despite their doubts. And often they were terrified. But they understood something crucial. You grow into readiness by doing, not by waiting. The feeling of readiness doesn't come first. It's earned through action. You become more confident by showing up consistently. You become more skilled by practicing, not by planning endlessly. You become more courageous by leaning into discomfort, not by avoiding it. We trick ourselves into believing that certainty must precede movement, but action creates clarity. Each step forward reveals what the next step should be. Sitting still won't give you that kind of insight. Waiting for motivation or confidence to magically appear is like waiting for lightning to strike. You can't control when it shows up, but you can always control when you begin. We often confuse preparation with progress. Preparation has its place, but it must eventually give way to execution. Reading more books, watching more tutorials, creating more checklists, those things only help if they're connected to real action. At some point, you have to stop gathering knowledge and start applying it. The fear of not being ready is often just a mask for the fear of making mistakes. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to fall short. But here's the truth that many people never fully accept. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. And that's not a sign you weren't ready. It's proof that you're learning. Every expert was once a beginner who started before they felt prepared. Every breakthrough begins with a leap into the unknown. If you wait for permission, for certainty, for the absence of fear, you'll never move. The world won't hand you readiness. You have to claim it. To stop asking, am I ready? Start asking, am I willing to begin anyway? As human beings, we are wired to seek comfort. We gravitate toward the familiar, the predictable, and the safe because it feels good. It gives us the illusion of control, but that comfort often comes at a hidden cost, our potential. Growth and comfort do not coexist. If you are always comfortable, it means you're not stretching, not challenging, and not evolving. Your comfort zone is like a warm, cozy room where nothing ever changes. You know where everything is, and nothing surprises you, but nothing inspires you there either. It's easy to confuse stability with success, but in reality, staying too long in your comfort zone often means you're surviving, while real progress, whether personal, professional, emotional, or creative, comes through discomfort. Think about it. When you learn something new, it's awkward at first. When you take on a bigger role, you feel pressure. When you confront a fear, it's uncomfortable. That tension you feel, that's the edge of growth. We often interpret discomfort as a sign to back off, as if we're doing something wrong. But discomfort is not danger, it's not failure, it's feedback. It's the body's way of saying, you're entering unfamiliar territory. This is where growth lives. The very feelings we try to avoid, uncertainty, vulnerability, challenge, are the gateways to becoming who we're capable of being. Comfort zones create routines, but they also build walls. Inside those walls, your dreams shrink, your ambitions quiet down, and your potential gets put on hold. Every time you choose the familiar path, you reinforce a smaller version of yourself. But every time you lean into discomfort, you chip away at your limitations. The most successful people, whether in business, athletics, the arts, or any field, aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who are willing to be uncomfortable. They're the ones who make peace with not knowing, with stumbling, with being seen trying. They understand that mastery and momentum only come after a series of awkward, clumsy, imperfect first steps. Discomfort is a signal, not a stop sign. It's an invitation to grow, to adapt, and to rise. Staying in your comfort zone may feel safe, but it also keeps your life small. The life you want, the goals you dream of, the person you're capable of becoming, they all live just outside that invisible line. So if you're feeling stretched, challenged, or unsure, good. You're not doing something wrong, you're doing something right. Because growth never comes wrapped in comfort, it comes wrapped in courage. One of the most subtle and damaging ways people hold themselves back is by waiting for permission to speak up, to create, to lead, to step into their potential. We've been conditioned, often since childhood, to look outward for validation. We're taught to wait until someone says, you're ready, you're qualified, or you're allowed. But here's the truth. If you keep waiting for someone else to give you the green light, you might never move. No one is coming to tap you on the shoulder and say, now is your time. No mentor, boss, teacher, or authority figure can truly know what you are capable of except you. And more importantly, no one can live your life or pursue your goals for you. Waiting for permission is like handing over the steering wheel of your life and hoping someone else will drive you to your destination. The need for permission often comes from a desire to avoid responsibility. If someone else tells us it's okay to act, then we feel protected from blame if things go wrong. But here's the paradox. The more you wait for permission, the more power you give away. And the more power you give away, the smaller your life becomes. You don't need a degree to start learning. You don't need a job title to be a leader. You don't need a perfect plan to launch a project. And you certainly don't need everyone's approval to chase what matters to you. In fact, waiting for universal approval is a guaranteed way to stay stuck because it will never come. There will always be people who don't understand your dream, who doubt your ability, or who think your timing is wrong. That's okay. Their permission is not a requirement. When you finally stop seeking permission and start giving it to yourself, you begin to reclaim your agency. You become the author of your life, not a character waiting to be written into someone else's story. That shift however subtle, can change everything, because it means you no longer need outside confirmation to move. You move because it matters. You act because it's aligned. You begin because you've decided to. Self-authorization is a powerful thing. It's not arrogance, it's ownership. It says, I may not have all the answers, but I trust myself enough to begin. It doesn't mean you won't seek guidance or feedback. It simply means you recognize that the ultimate authority on your life is you. So the next time you catch yourself waiting for the right moment, the right words, the right sign, pause and remember, the only person who can truly grant you permission is already in the mirror. Fear and doubt are not signs that you're weak or incapable. They're signs that you're human. Everyone feels them. Yes, even the confident people, the successful people, the bold risk takers. The difference isn't that it's that they don't let fear and doubt make their decisions for them. We often think of fear and doubt as stop signs, as red lights warning us to turn back. But in reality, they're more like caution lights. They're signals that something important is happening, that you're on the verge of growth, that you're stepping into unknown territory. That's not a reason to retreat. It's a reason to proceed with awareness, not avoidance. Fear exists to protect us. It's wired into our biology to keep us alive. In truly dangerous situations, it's invaluable. But the fear of speaking in public, the fear of launching your idea, the fear of being seen trying and failing, that's not survival. It's insecurity pretending to be protection. Doubt, too, has a purpose. It asks questions, it challenges assumptions. It can be useful if we don't let it take over. But when doubt becomes a dominant voice in your head, it turns into paralysis. It convinces you to second-guess your intuition, to shrink your ambition, to revise your goals down to something more realistic. It's not telling you the truth, it's telling you a story based on fear. And yet, many people hand over the steering wheel of their lives to these emotions. They let fear set the boundaries and doubt dictate the pace. They say things like, I just don't want to get it wrong, or what if I'm not cut out for this? And so they delay, deflect, or derail their own progress, not because they can't move forward, but because they've allowed emotion to overrule intention. But here's the key shift. Fear and doubt are feelings, not facts. They are information, not instructions. You don't have to eliminate them to take action. You just have to stop treating them like they're in charge. You can feel fear and still move. You can carry doubt and still build. You can walk forward with your hands shaking and your voice trembling. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going with it. Some of the most pivotal decisions in your life will be made not when you're completely confident, but when you're scared and unsure and you choose to act anyway. That's where resilience is built. That's where transformation begins. Because when you learn to coexist with fear and doubt, when you stop waiting for them to disappear, you free yourself to live fully, create boldly, and pursue what truly matters. Fear and doubt will knock on your door. Let them in. Listen briefly if you must, but don't hand them the keys. They don't get to drive. Confidence is often misunderstood. Most people believe it's something you're either born with or something that magically appears once you've succeeded. But that's not how confidence works. It's not a prerequisite for action. It's a result of action. Confidence is built, not bestowed. It grows with each step you take, not each thought you think. Momentum is the engine behind that growth. When you take action, any action, you shift energy. You stop standing still, you stop thinking in circles, and you start moving forward. That movement, even if it's small or imperfect, sends a message to your brain, I can do this. And over time, those repeated actions compound into belief. Not just belief in the idea, but belief in yourself. Think of any skill you've developed in life, whether it was learning to ride a bike, cook a meal, solve a problem, or speak in front of a group. Chances are you didn't feel confident at the beginning. You probably felt nervous, awkward, and unsure. But the more you practiced, the more natural it became. Confidence didn't lead the way, momentum did. Now think about fear. Fear thrives in stillness. It feeds off delay, hesitation, and inaction. The more time you give it, the louder it gets. It multiplies when you stay in your head imagining every failure, every judgment, every what if, but action. Real, physical, tangible action is fear's greatest enemy, because when you're moving, your focus shifts from what could go wrong to what needs to get done. Your brain has less space to worry when your body is busy doing. Even small wins create powerful momentum. Sending one email, making one call, taking one uncomfortable step. It's not about doing something dramatic or perfect. It's about doing something, because that something leads to the next thing, and then the next. And with each action, your sense of capability expands. You start proving to yourself through experience that you can handle more than you thought. Confidence built this way is durable. It's earned through effort, not handed out as a reward. It's rooted in evidence that you showed up, that you kept going, that you didn't let fear dictate your future. And the beauty of momentum is that it builds on itself. What starts as a single brave step can turn into a habit, a rhythm, even a lifestyle. The biggest mistake people make is waiting to feel ready before they start. But readiness doesn't create momentum. Momentum creates readiness. Every time you choose action over anxiety, you shrink your fear and strengthen your faith in yourself. So don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait until you feel completely sure. Take the first step. Build momentum. Let the movement itself build the mindset you need. That's how confidence is forged, in motion, not in meditation. There is a version of you that exists beyond your excuses, your doubts, your fears, and your habits of hesitation. A version that is capable of more than you've ever allowed yourself to imagine. But accessing that version requires a shift, not a miracle, not a perfect opportunity, a shift from self-limitation to self-liberation. And that shift begins the moment you stop being your own obstacle. We often think of our limitations as being imposed by the outside world, by the lack of time, money, support, or opportunity. But the truth is, the most powerful limitations are the ones we place on ourselves. The ones rooted in belief, in behavior, in how we speak to ourselves when no one's listening, in how we convince ourselves that we're not ready, not worthy, or not enough. These are not walls placed around us by others. They're walls we build brick by brick in our own minds. Getting in your own way doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It looks like staying quiet when you have something valuable to say, like settling for good enough when you know you're capable of great, like endlessly preparing and planning but never actually executing. It looks like shrinking to fit someone else's comfort, or letting fear write the script for your future. But the moment you recognize that you are the one holding the keys, everything changes. because the same habits, thoughts, and patterns that hold you back can be changed. They are not fixed. They are not permanent. You wrote them, and you can rewrite them. When you stop getting in your own way, you stop seeking permission to be powerful, you stop outsourcing your worth to others, you stop measuring your potential by past mistakes or current circumstances. Instead, you start showing up as the version of you that chooses courage over comfort, commitment over convenience, and progress over perfection. That's when you unlock something deeper, your true potential. Not the surface level version shaped by fear, but the one that has been quietly waiting for you to move. Potential doesn't live in your plans, it lives in your willingness. Willingness to step forward, to risk discomfort, to embrace uncertainty, to challenge your old narratives and replace them with better ones. Unlocking your potential isn't about becoming someone else. It's about shedding the weight of who you're not. It's about removing the resistance you built between where you are and where you could be. Every layer of self-doubt you peel back, every excuse you stop entertaining, every limit you stop reinforcing brings you one step closer to the person you were meant to be all along. Because the truth is, your potential has never been missing. It's never been broken. It's never been beyond your reach. It's been waiting quietly, patiently on the other side of your resistance, ready to meet you the moment you decide to get out of your own way. So I ask you to look within and recognize the patterns where you've been standing in your own way, whether it's fear, doubt, perfectionism, or procrastination. Acknowledge it, confront it, and then take that first step. Remember, your potential is not somewhere off in the distance, waiting for the perfect time. It's here right now inside you. All it takes is for you to stop blocking the path. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect. You just need to begin and then keep going, because when you stop holding yourself back, you unlock a version of yourself that's capable of more than you ever imagined. The power to transform your life is already in your hands. It always has been. You've just been waiting for the right moment to realize it. Well, the moment is now. Step forward with courage, take action with purpose, and trust that with every move you make, you're becoming the person you were always meant to be. Don't let anything or anyone get in your way. The world is waiting for you to show up, and it's time to claim your place in it. Go out and unlock your true potential, because when you stop getting in your own way, the possibilities are limitless.